guys, and welcome back to the BFTV review show. We're reviewing our match against Leeds United today, and we will also be previewing our match on Tuesday against Blackburn Rovers. James, thank you for joining me today. Thank you Spoil Sports for sponsoring this video, and also today we are going to be announcing the winner for the 2 tickets for the match on Tuesday. So we ran a competition in our YouTube comments, and I am very pleased to say, Matt Law, congratulations. You have won the 2 tickets for our match on Tuesday. If you could please drop us an email, the email is in the description down below, and drop us an email of all your details. We will get everything sorted for you, and congratulations again. And everyone else, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel. We love making these videos, and hopefully you love watching them as much as we love making them. Okay, so you ready to get on with the Leeds review?
I'm ready as I'll ever be, you know me.
Okie dokie. So James, first point I want to make today, the lineup, it was unchanged from our match against Middlesbrough. Do you think it was the right decision?
I said, obviously, if you go back and you look at the social medias and you look at the YouTube from Friday, I did say that I believed one change would have been fair. I didn't think Bellingham could handle it. Not that he's not good enough, but like I said, the maturity and all of that. And bringing maybe Davis or Gardner in. He didn't. He stuck with the unchanged lineup, and I thought that while it was a risk, I think it was a risk that ultimately didn't backfire. I don't think it paid off, but it didn't backfire either, and I think that's the key. Bellingham played very, very well. Made a lapse of error for his for the goal. He made a poor pass. Colin also didn't help himself with that, and Cam didn't help himself, so he can't take the sole blame. But the team, did okay. The first and the second half are completely contrasting, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yep.
But I think that ultimately I'm not going to moan that he didn't change the team. I would have changed it maybe with the Tuesday game in mind as well. Mm-hmm. But ultimately I'm not going to moan. I thought he did very well, and it matched up a very strong Leeds team.
Yep, completely. Look at the first half very briefly. Yeah. Leeds could have been in front by quite a few goals. Mm-hmm. They were very much on the offensive. We couldn't deal with them as well as we had dealt with Borough. What do you think wasn't working in the first half?
I think the shape. I think ultimately the shape of the team. I said to you numerous times throughout the game, they were getting into good 2-on-1 positions in the wide positions, and as you watch the after-match report from Harley Dean, he says that nobody was picking up Ayling most of the time. He was sort of playing on the right-hand side of defence. No one was picking up. He had the freedom to come forward with that. So on our left-back position, right, so obviously down there, right. And they were 2-on-1 with Pedersen. Unfortunately, Villalba kept getting sucked in centrally, and it was leaving a lot of space out there. And Alvaro should have been pressing him a little bit harder. And obviously they had the talk at half-time. But the shape was a little bit of a problem in the first half. I think that Leeds, like we said, tactically are excellent. They really are. And we just struggled to counteract that. But we defended very well. I think that ultimately we cleared our lines very well, made some excellent blocks, good interceptions, aerially we were dominant. So, while we rode our luck, you need a bit of luck in football sometimes, and I think we did that first half.
On the turn of that, do you think Leeds were at their best yesterday?
No, they definitely weren't. They didn't cause us as many problems as I thought, especially second half. I thought they'd really come on to us after the first half. They didn't. I think we took ascendancy. I think we took the game to them, which I was very, very pleased about. We showed a lot of bravery on the ball. We were committed to playing this new style, and the more it's going on, the more I'm seeing signs it's going to work. I think the inconsistencies at the very start of the season were worrying, but I was happy with the overall performance yesterday. But lots of things to improve on as well.
Yeah, definitely. So leading into the second half, as you said, Pep had a chat with Alvaro. Harley Dean said in his excellent match review, so to speak. I'll link that down below because it's a very good watch. Definitely watch that if you haven't already. He said there's been a language barrier. I don't think you can blame Alvaro really for that. He's only been here since August. Mm-hmm. But do you think that the communication wasn't there in the first half?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think that you bring in numerous Spanish players that don't speak the language, and you get a lot of English players that don't speak any Spanish. Yeah, there's going to be a language barrier. Absolutely. But that's football. Mm-hmm. players have to adapt, players have to learn, and eventually they will learn the system without necessarily having to speak massive amounts of English or whatnot, and they will learn how to play and how to press. And like you said, Alvaro wasn't doing his job particularly as he should have been the press on the left hand side, but he did it much better second half. My biggest problem up front is with the language barrier is that we're not making the right decisions in the final third going forward, not pressing but going forward, and it's a bit concerning for me, if I'm honest. But the Spanish players seem to link up quite well. They're gelling, relatively well now. So it's only a matter of time before everything clicks. I think it's coming. It's definitely coming.
Definitely. Okay, so in the second half we were much better. Obviously they'd had that chat. Alvaro knew what he was doing a lot better, and we just looked more. We looked a solid side. Completely contrasting to the first half, and I think that's where Pep's getting things right now. He's being able to assess the games as they go on, and he's putting now his thoughts into place on the pitch, and I'm really impressed actually, especially with the last two games. We looked the better team. Do you think the goal was a bit of a sucker punch, or do you think it was deserved by them?
I don't think it was deserved, but what is deserved? You know what I mean? I thought a draw was fair yesterday.
Yeah.
Leeds fans would probably argue differently, but think that if they were to look at their second half performance, they didn't create anything really second half. Very, very little for the home side, and we gifted them that goal. Absolute gift of a goal, from the pass to Collan's misjudgment of go into the ball, he should have gone to it, and Camp letting it through himself again. It's three errors that was just a gift of a goal really. But Blues could have had two or three, and my biggest problem again was when we played. We won the ball back numerous times. We were so good at judging it and making these vital interceptions and breaking quickly in numbers, passing the moving. Everything was spot on. And then you got to the final third, in and around the edge of the box, and the pass was so poor, and the decisions to shoot in certain places was so poor. The cross was bad. That's where we've got to improve now, I think, for me. You look at it, think defensively, we look solid against Middlesbrough. We look pretty solid against Wigan, even though we lost 1-0. We looked pretty solid against Preston, I actually thought, while looking sloppy in the middle. And then we looked pretty solid yesterday defensively. I don't think the defence now needs the work. It's going forward. It's that final killer pass. Midfield seem to know what they're doing. They can dominate games at times. They can control possession. We just need to work on that final third, and I've said already on social media that those two up front aren't going to work. No. They're too similar. So
my problem really with the second half was the substitutions. I think they were the right substitutions, but do you think, especially Gardner and Magoma, do you think they made the impact that we wanted them to have?
No, definitely not. I think you need your substitutes to come on and have an impact. I think Bailey came on, did okay roughly. He got involved. He took the game to them again. He was confident on the ball. He wanted it. He found space. But Gardner, I don't think I said to you yesterday, they didn't do anything wrong, but they also didn't do anything really in particular. Plenty of running. Everybody gives effort out there. Nobody ever slacks on their responsibilities. But it's the quality. Can they bring a change to the game? Gardner sat in and did no better than Bellingham, but Bellingham was rightly taken off because he was tired, etc. I would have put Davis on. People slag Davis off. People slag me off for rating Davis, but I see something in Davis a little bit more. He's a little bit more agile on the ball. I think he offers a little bit more aggression in the middle, and I think that tenacity, that aggression, that sort of battling attitude would have brought something yesterday. And I think he's actually quite good at breaking forward. So he was part of that Rowett team that was so successful on the counter attack. I think that he would have been the better fit. But, he chose Gardner, who I think will now be out for Tuesday's game, but, we'll talk about that in a minute. And Magoma, again, we all know how good he can be on his day. He can be a world beater at times. In this league, especially, he can be so dangerous. But he just, for me, lacks, again, a good final pass, a good final run. He doesn't make those killer runs that he can make. It's frustrating. But nobody's gonna. Nobody's gonna really moan at anyone and say you shouldn't be in the team. You shouldn't. I thought it's a hard one to take, but overall, pleasing signs again yesterday.
Completely. So overall in the game, first half not so great. Second half, fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you think we can take from this game going forward?
We went to Ellen Road, hostile atmosphere, full house, against a very, very good team. And Bielsa's, Leeds at the minute are, so good when they want to be. And I thought we matched them at times. Yeah, we could have been 2 or 3 down at half time, but we could have, scored 2 in the second half. So, yeah, 50-50 game. I think we matched them, did pretty well. Just need to work on that final ball. I think there's things to learn, and there's things we did well. So overall, like Harley Dean said, it's a free hit. Nobody expects you to go there and get anything at Leeds. So we move on, and hopefully we pick up at least 4 points from the next 2 games.
Exactly. Okay, so very quickly, let's go over our match ratings for the match yesterday against Leeds. Number 1, who's your man of the match? And number 2, what would you give everyone else?
Oh, man of the match. I thought Christian Pedersen was really good yesterday. Again, like we said, got caught a lot of the times 2-on-1. I thought he dealt with it really well. He was solid, made a lot of good interceptions. Him or, again, Sunjic was very, very good. But I'd probably give it to Peds. I thought he was really good in the air, on the ground, played some good passes again. So, yeah, I think Pedersen just edged it for me. So, in terms of rating, I think that, nobody gets too high, but nobody gets too low either. Camp, 6, made 1 good save in the first half, but ultimately could have done better with the goal, I think. Colin, 6.5, again, could have done better with the goal, but had a steady game overall. Roberts and Dean both get a 7, I think. They're pretty good. Peds gets an 8 from me. I think that was one of his best performances this season. Crowley, 7, a little bit quiet at times, but when he got on the ball, made things happen. Sunjic and Bellingham again. Bellingham 7, Sunjic 7.5. Good performances from both, striking up a very good partnership. Villalba 7, again, made things happen at times, but again, lacked a good final ball. And Duke and Alvaro both 6.5. I think they're really, really not gelling together at all. But that's not for the one to try. And they're very hard-working players, but we need that spark of quality. We need that Adams. I said to you yesterday, if Adams was out there, he'd have took 1 or 2 of those chances that Alvaro and Duke had. So, but yeah, Peds gets man of the match, I think, in terms of ratings. Everybody gets a mid sort of range. Nobody let himself down, but nobody particularly shone. Okay, so looking ahead at the Blackburn game, obviously, this is now, it's not a must-win, but obviously these are the games that we look at and we really should be picking up 3 points, especially from your home games in the Championship. It's so important that you win. We made, St Andrews a bit of a fortress last season. Blackburn have been on, I'd say a little bit of a dip, to be honest, recently. So they currently sit in 14th position, 2 places behind us. Thankfully, yesterday's defeat meant that we didn't move. We stayed exactly where we were in 12th, which was great. Currently 14th with 4 wins, 3 draws and 5 defeats on 15 points. Do you see Blackburn sort of, posing a huge threat to us on Tuesday night?
I mean, maybe. You would have said the same against teams such as Wigan, who have got some technically good players, such as Jamal Lowe from Portsmouth, recently signed.
Yeah.
I don't think you can rule anyone out in this league, but I do think that looking ahead at games like Wigan, Blackburn, those teams that are normally at the bottom of the division by the end of the season, you think you can go and beat them. But it's shown so far this season that things are so unpredictable that we can't. However, with the last 2 games, I think that we have now got a solid formation, a solid self-play, and we're still adapting it, but it's very good. Yeah. So as much as if you had asked me a few games ago, I would have said I'm not sure. I think we can definitely go and win this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Blackburn pose a threat, but confidence is a little bit shot, I'd say, recently. So their last 5 games, their last win came 5 games ago away to Reading. They did win 2-1, and they haven't won since. They lost 2-1 at home to Luton. Mm-hmm. They drew 1-1 at home to Nottingham Forest, 4-2 away defeat to QPR, and yesterday's 2-2 defeat at home. 2-2 draw at home to Huddersfield. So they've only won 1 in the last 5, losing 2, drawing 2, and some disappointing defeats there for them. But they possess a lot of quality, and they've got some players that can really hurt us. So Bradley Dack, Lewis Holtby, Danny Graham, Stuart Downing. So there's a lot of players there that experienced in this league and are well known to cause problems. Do you see obviously any of those? Do you highlight any of those as a danger man at all?
I think you have to highlight, especially Bradley Dack. You have to highlight their attackers. They have scored in all of their last 5 games. I can't work it out off the top of my head. They've scored in all of their last 5 games, but they've also conceded in all of their last 5 games. So from that, what I can take is that they are very good going forward, but very poor in defence. Mm-hmm. So that will allow us. Our strengths are really in defence, and our weaknesses are attacking. So it's almost like a very flipped team. So I think if we can capitalise and find a formula against Blackburn that we can score, then I think we'll definitely beat them. But our defence, again, going to have to be on their A game because their strengths are going forward. So I think that's something that we definitely have to look at. Their attackers are going to be the biggest threat in that game. Yeah. It may be quite easy getting through their back line. This may be a game where our strikers can have some impact for once.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely their attackers are what we need to look at.
No, I agree. Plenty of attacking, prowess there. They've got some good defenders, but I mean, clearly, I think they're trying to work this 3 at the back system, 3-4-3.
And as we know, it's not that easy.
It's not an easy system. To master it takes a lot of time. But they seem to be pursuing with it. So I think maybe eventually it will click. Mowbray's a good manager there. Mm-hmm. Always does a good job at every team he's at. It's the last 5 games against Blackburn at St Andrews. It's a bit of a draw fest, to be honest. So obviously last season's 2-2 draw at home with Shea scoring both. Before that, it was a 1-0 home win to Blues. I think it was Stephen Gleeson that got the goal that day. Before that, it was a 0-0 home draw, and then it was a 2-2 home draw, and then before that, Blackburn did beat us 4-2. So 1 win to Blackburn, 1 win to Blues, and 3 draws. So I'm fingers crossed that trend doesn't continue. But let's obviously get on to the main talking point, Blues team going into this game. Changes afoot, would you say?
Well, there has to be. Ivan Sunjic has now accumulated 5 yellow cards, so he'll be out of the team. Hopefully be back, obviously, for the Luton game. Yeah. But seeing he's out, I put Davis in. Gardner is, from what I can tell, injured, so if I'm honest, there is no other replacement to go in Sunjic's place. It has to be Davis. I do think Bellingham will be rested, or I did think that. I'm not so sure now. I don't know who we'd really put in his place now, especially seeing as we have to have the defence now with Davis and we need an attacking midfielder. However, if we completely change the system up, I'm sure we could put Crowley in there or something like that. But I do think we will stick with a similar team. We may see Steve Seddon come on, or Wes Harding, or it depends whether Pep wants to continue with the strongest team and wait for the rest of the next international break to give these players a rest, and he wants to see it right through, or whether he wants to give some other players a chance. It will be very interesting to see how he lines up, because it's a very interesting one, and I can't really pick the team because I don't know what his ideologies are and whether he wants to continue with this team until they have to have a rest, or whether he wants to change it up and see who can work in this system. So it's a very confusing one, but we'll see.
No, I agree. I see 2 or 3 changes coming in for this one. I think he'll look ahead to Luton as well on Saturday, and he's going to try and do a bit of a juggling act, a bit of a balancing of the squad. Obviously, he saw that Sunjic got the yellow card yesterday, so they obviously left him on for the 90, taking Bellingham off to give him some rest ahead of Tuesday, because obviously now he's pretty much going to have to play. Yep. And alongside David Davis, I would have thought, like you said, Gardner twisting his knee slightly. We don't know if it's just a niggle and it might just be a 1 game thing, or whether it's something long term, or whether he's not even, he could still be available, whether it's just a tweak and he'll be okay. But I would have thought Davis and Bellingham will be the midfield too now. Davis for me does what Sunjic does. It's the closest comparison. So, Kerem Morabti could come back in. I think that we've not really seen him too much in the last couple of games, but I think for me, he offers us more in the final third than a partnership of Duke and Alvaro. I think you've got to pick one of those two, and then partner him with a Bailey, with a Marabti.
Yeah.
So I can see a change in that. I think that it was evident to see yesterday there was a lot of frustration with the two up front. And maybe out on the wide positions as well. Does Dan Crowley get a rest? Obviously ahead of Saturday, does Villalba get a rest? Do we bring Magoma in? Do we bring Harding in?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of changes that Pep's got at his disposal. Keita, I think, can play now. Keita's very close. It would not surprise me in the slightest to see him on the bench.
Or McEachran, is he available?
And McEachran, I believe, is now very close to match fitness, and I think could play some part in the next 2 games. Probably on the bench, I thought, to come off. But if Gardner and Sunjic are out, you will more than likely see McEachran come onto the bench for that one, I would have thought. So, plenty of changes. For me, I would go with Camp in goal. I think I'd stick with the same back four for this one. I think maybe change and bring Harding in for the Luton game, potentially. But I'd go with the same back four. I'd go with then the midfield 2 pairing of Bellingham and Davis. And then I'd go out wide and I'd switch it up slightly. I'd go with Crowley on the right, Magoma on the left. And then I'd go with Duke and Bailey up top. I think that we need something different up front. Alvaro, with 20 minutes to go, could run, ragged if you bring him on. He could, add that spark, that bit of enthusiasm if we need to go and get a goal.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good option off the bench for this one. But, again, Montero could be back soon again. So he's got lots of options, and I think I'd like to see Marabti on the bench, for that option. Obviously, Villalba will be on the bench if he does. But, like I say, plenty of options, guys. So what are you thinking ahead of your team? Give us your 11.
I'm going to go with Camp in goal, because I honestly don't think we've got a better option. I think Stockdale's just as vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But I would change the back four because I think Luton is going to be a much tougher game, and we need to bring our A game to that game. I think Blackburn is going to be an easier game to play. So I would switch Maxim Klarnak for Harding just to give him a rest, because I think Luton beat Bristol City 3-0 yesterday. They've been playing very well against the top of the table teams, and I think they're more of a threat than Blackburn, so I'd prefer to have our stronger team against Luton than Blackburn.
Okay.
So in the midfield I would go with Magoma, because like I said, I would want our stronger team, so Villalba would be out for me. And then I would have Davis, Bellingham, and I would have Crowley still, because we need some sort of creative influence on the pitch. And then I would go with Duke and Bailey up top again, because I think Duke needs that player, that smaller, quicker player to help him play his type of game, and then hopefully that'll get his confidence back, because I think with Duke it's a confidence thing at the moment. He's not scoring because of the confidence, frustration. So I would change the team slightly, and then I would probably revert back to a very similar team we played against Leeds, against Luton.
Yeah, no. It's a fair point. Obviously, both games offer different threats, and I think that, like you said, Luton are in, they can catch you cold if you're not on it. They did beat Blackburn at Blackburn as well. So they offer different threats. I'm very wary of Blackburn's, ability when they want to go, when they want to turn it on. Like you say, they haven't not scored in the last 5 games, but they haven't, managed to keep a clean sheet in the last 5. So they offer a different threat to Luton, I think. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think, obviously there's got to be changes, but it depends what changes he wants to make, how fresh he wants to make that team, and where he wants his strengths, obviously, for each game, whether it be Luton, whether it be Blackburn, which one he's going to prioritise. But let us know down in the comments, guys. What do you think? What changes are you going to make? What threats do Blackburn bring to us? And leave your thoughts about the Leeds game as well. It was a very topical game. We're going to focus on what happened on the pitch and not off it. So no comments about what happened off it, please, because we're not going to discuss that. But anything else you want to see in the next video, which will be the Luton preview and the Blackburn review, please let us know, guys, down in the comments below. I've been James. Emily, thank you so much for joining me, and thank me for joining you. But yeah, that's all from us, guys. Quickly, ahead of this one, can I get a score prediction from you?
You can indeed, James. I will give you I'll do it again, I'll give you a 2-1 to Blues.
Yep, I think that's a fair point. I'm actually going to go with, I'll go with a 2-0, actually. I'm quite confident. I'm quietly confident that we shouldn't have conceded yesterday. we did through an error, so I think we can keep a clean sheet in this one. And I think that going forward, if we can make it click, we can be comfortable going forward. So 2-0 for me. I think that probably Magoma, if he starts, will get on the score sheet. I can see Crowley getting his first goal as well.
Yeah.
Very, very good player. Needs a goal, I think, sooner or later, guys. But go and check out. We have a giveaway so that you don't miss the Luton game. If you do need 2 tickets for that or would like to be entered, we're going to do an Instagram giveaway. So head over to our Instagram, birminghamfantv. We will leave a link in the description below, and and you can win 2 tickets to that game. Congratulations to Matt for winning the 2 Blackburn tickets, and there will be a giveaway every week for the 2 home tickets. So follow us on all the social media platforms to find out just when you can win those. So I'm sure everyone will win one at some point, I'm hoping, and there'll be more giveaways as well as soon as we can sort them out, guys. But thanks so much for joining us, and don't forget to catch the review and preview video later on in the week. Keep right on.
Keep right on.